Dunkin' is here to keep you running with a much-needed taste of normal. To work, home, or work from home, with the coffee you like, just the way you like it. Whether that's a small hot black coffee, your daily 2 p.m. latte, or a bacon, egg, and cheese croissant and a medium iced coffee with oat milk, 1 sugar, 2 pumps of caramel, 1 pump hazelnut, a swirl of French vanilla, and a shot of espresso.
I call it my PM pep rally. You should really try it.
Whatever it is that gets you running, Dunkin's got you and always will. America runs on Dunkin'.
Episode 1879 of the #1 podcast and Apple Podcast for Job Search. No BS Job Search Advice Radio. I'm your host, Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome. Another fun final interview question, which if you don't think this is going to be a question that you might be asked on an interview, you aren't paying attention, especially if you're at a manager level and above in many of the firms that you're working for. Hope you find this helpful and give it a great review wherever you listen to the show. And now, let's get going. And this is a great question. I'm telling you, folks, you're going to hear more and more often on your interviews, especially if you're in leadership roles. The question is, tell me about a time when you challenged someone's behavior that was discriminatory or inappropriate. Now, I originally found this question researching a site that had questions for government employees of a particular sort. But I'm telling you, for you people in corporate who think that you're immune to questions like this, folks, the more lawsuits that get filed for racism, sexism, ageism, homophobia, I'm telling you, folks, this is going to start showing up more regularly. And I want to say that the bonus points that you'll receive are for when you call attention to them in the hiring process, where you catch people in their blind spots about hiring. So, for example, there are all sorts of situations that older workers contend with, where they have to deal with the perception that as soon as they walked in the door, there was no chance that they were getting the job because the manager was 20 years more junior than they. And where you can talk about situations where you had conversations with, I'm going to say millennial, but it's really the wrong term here, someone in their 30s about how they evaluate people in their 50s and 60s for quote unquote fit. How you talk to people who are of one nationality about interviewing people from a different nationality that might have been in conflict with one another over the course of centuries, where you deal with issues of race, of faith, and other places. This is really where the bonus is. Now, I'm not going to teach you how to language this. I'm just trying to get you to start thinking so you're not shocked at the time of the interview. And frankly, if you're not confronting these issues, there's a problem there, because we all know that these exist in the workforce. I remember when I was relatively junior in the recruiting field, like a long time ago, there were 2 people who were interviewing for, one person was being interviewed for a job at a particular organization. They were both from India, but they were from different castes. They weren't allowed to talk with one another. And the result wound up being they sat in silence for a half hour. That's an extreme example, and I don't believe this would happen today, but it happened then. It woke me up to certain scenarios that can occur. So think in advance and start thinking about, frankly, your hiring process. And this is for hiring managers, this is for HR, this is for anyone in a position of authority. And for you in staff, you need to start thinking of this as well, and how to do it diplomatically and how to do it powerfully. I know I've sat in meetings with people where they've used terms that are offensive in one way or another, that call attention to bigotry that may not be the obvious things. It may be using the B word to describe a woman, or the C word. these days in corporate, at least in the U.S., the N-word does not show up all that often, but the behaviors are still there, where people who are very qualified still get passed over, where they are professionally segregated into certain roles. This is not just true about African Americans. Can be true of women, people from certain nations. Like, one of the things I picked up on a long time ago, how women from India and women from Russia were segregated into quality assurance roles, and generally did not wind up in roles where they were involved with development. So confronting these behaviors without being confrontational, by asking questions at the time to call attention to the subtleties of the bias that have worked their way through the system, I think will serve you very well. So, this is not about standing up, pounding a table. Sometimes it's while you're in the room with the person who has heard something that could hurt them, that calls attention to their bias. And I'll just simply say, from my own experience, being at a firm where an owner made a racist statement with the employee present of that particular background and watching the horror on her face and the hurt, makes me particularly sensitive to this. And being called to testify in the court case by both parties was really very interesting. So I hope you find this helpful. I hope this provokes some thought on your part or evokes some thought on your part, because you need to be prepared for these situations, because frankly, it is going to come up on interviews. It is going to show up in the real workforce, as it should. Hope you found this helpful. If you're interested in my coaching you, reach out to me through LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the Big Game Hunter. Mention that you saw the video. I just like knowing that I'm helping some folks. And once we're connected, message me. Tell me that you're interested in coaching. I also want to mention, one last thing on that subject. If you're outside the U.S., mention that you subscribe to my podcasts, my videos, whatever. And by the way, to subscribe, let me try this again. I always have trouble with this. If you're watching on YouTube, click the little icon in the lower right, and you'll be able to subscribe to the channel. And if you only have a couple of questions for me, reach out to me in one of two ways. If you want to do it by phone, contact me through prestoexperts.com. If you want to do it as a video chat, you have an iOS device. There's an app called Magnify, Magnifi. And you can, I would suggest connecting with me first on LinkedIn, telling me that you have a couple of questions, want to contact me through Magnify. Let's schedule a time for a conversation. Hope you have a great day. Take care. That's today's show. I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, here are a few more ways to get information and advice from me. First of all, visit my website, which is thebiggamehunter.us. Go to the blog. There's a lot there to help you with your job search, hiring more effectively, managing and leading in workplace-related issues. In addition, if you're interested in my coaching you, there's a button there that says schedule. Schedule time for a free discovery call or schedule yourself in for coaching. Obviously, I'm going to charge for that, but I can help you with interview preparation, leadership coaching, salary negotiation advice, making a good decision between different offers, anything related to improving yourself in the workplace, I can coach you about. If you have questions for me, you can schedule 15 minutes with me at thebiggamehunter.us/live, or a less expensive way is at thebiggamehunter.us/video answers, where you leave a message for me and I'll respond with a 3 to 5 minute video. Connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the-big-game-hunter. I can assure you your network will expand a lot by connecting with me. And finally, watch me on TV. Download the JobSearch TV app for Fire TV, Fire Stick, Apple TV, Roku, like 90 different manufacturers. I'll be back tomorrow with more, and in the meantime, I hope you have a terrific day. Be great!
Haverty's Furniture is here to help you get set for the season with up to $1,000 off. So you can set the stage with style and set the bar more beautifully. So why not settle in together on a new sofa? Because being at home doesn't mean having to settle for less. Even though the holidays feel a little different this year, Haverty's Furniture can help you create the perfect holiday setting with up to $1,000 off plus 0% interest.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
This Thanksgiving, think outside the oven and get Thanks Grilling with Ace. Get a new grill and choose from top brands like Traeger, Weber, and Big Green Egg to add even more flavor to your Thanksgiving turkey, side dishes, and desserts. Plus, right now, get free assembly and delivery on all grills and accessories $3.99 and up. For the best help on the best grills, stop by your local Ace and get Thanks Grilling. Ace Rewards members only through December 24th. See participating stores for scheduling or exclusions.